Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Totally Amazing Mushrooms. And we had a whole swack of newcomers come in, so welcome. Hello, hola, bonjour, здравствуйте. We are in for a mixed bag of weather today, so we've got a little bit of sun, a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of cloud. But that's okay, that's not going to stop us. So come for a walk with us, see what we can see. Look at these yellow guys. Thought at first when I saw them it was Hypholoma fasciculare, but it's not. These beautiful guys are just, oh, so slimy. Slimy, slimy. They're going all down this log here. I think these guys are in the Foliota genus. And you can see it's more yellowy at the base there, and it gets lighter as it gets closer to the apex. And they got these little fibers on the stipe there. Oh yeah, the cap's very slimy. It's got a kind of a cinnamony brown kind of spore print to it. I took one of these back and did a spore print on it. And no noticeable scales on the cap. Hang on a sec. I had to climb into the bush a little further. So I believe these guys, and I apologize for the branches, I'm underneath a bush here. I believe these guys are in a species cluster, they call it. And there's 3 of them. But they've been described as the subgenus Flammula. Yeah, so there's 3 in this cluster, and they're Foliota alnicola, Foliota molecula, and Foliota flavida. And I believe the type species is the alnicola. And they like hardwoods like this log here, and but sometimes conifers. But we're in an alder stand, and this one's just a really rotted piece of alder. And you can see on the log here, most of them are in clusters, but there's a few that are singles. Now apparently the molecula and the flavida have a mild taste, and the alnicola has a bitter taste to it. Now I did a trailside taste test here and wiped off all that grody slime, and it was quite bitter. But to truly know, you're going to have to do like microscopic tests or DNA, and so we're just going to leave this one as the Foliota genus and subgenus Flammula. So, alright, well, let's get ourselves out of this bush and get on down the trail. Well, would you look at these beautiful, these are the pink sherbets, these are Leptoporus mollis. These guys are just absolutely phenomenal, love them. Yeah, they're just little polypores, brown rot decayers. These guys came down with this dead tree. She came down with the last little bit of wind, I guess. Fairly recent, but yeah. So these guys are doing their damage to all the cellulose in here, leaving lignin behind, which turns this orange color and gets kind of cuboidal. Like this is kind of getting cuboidal. It's not quite fully rotted yet, but on its way. But yeah, just beautiful. And they'll start out kind of like this, and you can see this guy, there's their poor body here, and it should be facing down, but this branch came down, or this little tree I should say, and it was in the vertical position, but now it's laying on its side and it's going to reorient itself. And my apologies that a plane's flying over. I kind of get sick of the planes and I hate having to stop for recording for them. So we're just recording over them. But yeah, just absolute beauties, and they've got this beautiful pink color. They can look very much like the Rhodophomys kajanderi, which is normally black, and has just a little, the margin of their cap will be pink, and the top will be kind of black, and they'll look like they have kind of fused caps altogether. But yeah, just absolutely beautiful. I hope the camera's picking up this pink because it's just so vibrant. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. Oh, the many colors of autumn. Very, very hard to find mushrooms in this. I think we have the fairy parachute This is Marasmiellus candidus. These beautiful little things. And it seems to be growing on, these are Rubus spectabilis bushes. And it's a whole grove of them in here. And I think this is a cane of theirs. And the Marasmiellus candidus likes to actually grow on these, plus other sticks and whatnot. They do have one that's similar, and I've got something sticking into me. There is a similar species to these guys, a little bit bigger, and they've got more of a blacker stipe. If you can kind of make that out. The stipe on these guys starts to turn black from the base and comes up. The other species is Tetrapyrgos nigrippes, and its stipe is quite black and it goes a lot further. And also, let's see if you can make out the gills here, how far apart these guys are. Their gills do not go as far apart as these ones do. Also, there's another thing is the Marasmiellus candidus, where they attach themselves to the stick or cane or whatever, they've got a little tiny pad. Can you see that little pad at the base there? It's got the little white fuzz around it. That is another telltale that is not the Tetrapyrgos nigrippes, or Tetrapygos, however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, so these guys are the little fairy parachutes, Marasmiellus candidus, sitting here on a Rubus spectabilis cane, just growing in the forest. Oh, here's a big flush of Hyphiloma fasciculare mowing down on this log. Wow, they're all over it here. Careful what you eat, baby girl. You wouldn't like the taste of these guys. You'd spit them out right away. It's like licking a battery. They are cousins to one of my favorite mushrooms, the Hyphiloma capnoides. They're absolutely delicious, the smoky gill. These are the, here we go, the sulfur tuft. And as you can see by this yellow color underneath, they look kind of like a highlighter pen yellow. Pretty amazing. They're just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, they're toxic, so don't be trying to snarf these guys or get them mistaken for the Hyphiloma capnoides. They've got a dark spore print, and they also have UV qualities to them, so when you shine UV light on them, they are amazing. I didn't know that until one of our amazing friends out there told me about that, so I went and got myself a UV light. And yeah, so it was, I had a lot of fun with it. Still having fun with it too. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. But yeah, these guys are toxic and whatnot. But what they have been using them for, believe it or not, these guys really don't like sharing. They're not sharing mushrooms. So their mycelium will boot out many other fungi. So they use it on trees that have been parasitized in the forest by certain other mushrooms that parasitize, which there's a fair amount of them that will parasitize trees and then eventually kill them. And these guys only like dead wood. So what they do is they'll put their spores or their mycelium into the roots that have already been attacked by the other mushrooms, the invaders, the parasitic ones as it were. And these guys' mycelium, I believe it's like 85% of the time, boot out the mycelium of the other fungi. So they stop killing the tree if it's not already dead, and these guys will keep mowing down on the dead wood and leave all the live wood. So yeah, they've got many uses even though they're not edible. But yeah, just wild. But now it's time to go lights out. Aren't mushrooms just absolutely amazing? Look at these. And these guys are somewhat distantly related to the Fomitopsis munciae. These are Rhodophomys kajanderi, and they're not quite forming their little pink spore body yet, but you can see it's just starting. And the thing with these guys is you'll see the pink around the margin, unlike the Leptoporus mollis, where the whole entire cap is that beautiful pink, hence the name of the other ones, the pink sherbets. Whereas these guys have a black top to their cap, and you can see that it's like fused. They all kind of fuse together, so they're kind of shelving out like that. But yeah, and they get this beautiful, when this guy's in full sporulation, this whole margin, the bottom part of this margin here, will be a beautiful pink, and then it'll have the contrast of the black from the top there, and the whole spore body underneath will be pink too. So as you can see, it's getting ready to, but not quite there yet. Yeah, Rhodophomys kajanderi. These guys are hard like pretty much all of the... These guys are hard like many of the conchs, you know, not edible or anything, but... I saw this guy earlier, this beautiful little yellowy egg-shaped kind of fella here. We're out in a grassy field, and I believe this guy is the Bulbitis titubens group. I'm going to say group because there are several. They've got to do DNA testing on them, and there's one of them's a fragilis, and others, oh golly, I can't remember. There's about 4 of them, and they got to do some DNA testing on them, and it's due to their stature and whatnot. Some of them, when they grow in Pupidomilos, they can get quite large, and they'll be like a big a group of them, a cluster of them sometimes, and sometimes they'll be single or right beside. Luckily, we have an older specimen, and you can see how striated their cap gets once they age a little bit. But this guy's quite young, and I'm just going to pull him up, and we're going to see what we can see on his stipe, because it should have fine hairs on the stipe. Substance, and they're very fragile, as we can see here, and I'm not seeing any fuzzy hairs on this part. Oh yeah, you can see them up there at the apex of the stipe there. But this guy will have a rusty brown spore print if this is the Bulbitis titubens. We can actually probably tell a little bit better on this older specimen. Then you can see that, yes, his stipe is still yellow. But yeah, you can see that he's got kind of a cinnamony brown kind of colored gills at the moment, and that's from their spores. Yeah, on this one you can see the hairs a little bit better on the base of the stipe here. Really fine. Yeah, he's just completely shattered and fell apart. But yes, you can see that it's starting to get the striations on the cap there. Looks very similar to the mica cap actually, when they're young, without the pleats, this one. But yeah, very, very fragile, and but they are in the Bulbitaceae family. Now, originally it was Jean-Baptiste Francois Pierre Bouliard threw it in the Agaricus genus, and then I believe it was Elias Magnus Fries, our Autobot friend, came along in about 1850s, I think, and threw it in the Bulbitis genus. Yeah, but beautiful. It was. It just looked like a little yellow egg sitting here, and I was intrigued, as I always am with every mushroom I find. Beautiful. But yeah, other than like I say, they've got to do a bunch of DNA testing on these guys. There isn't any lab report, so I don't know any kind of things that they might have in them, secondary metabolites and any kind of compounds or goodness to them. Not sure. From what I know is they're not toxic, but they're tiny, and I understand they're not very palatable. So, and oh yeah, that's the other thing, is he's kind of got a little bit of a sticky-ish cap. Not really sticky, but just a little bit. You can feel it. It's actually, you can see it's peeling up a little bit here. That sticky peeled up the top of the cuticle. But that's about all I have on this guy. Do 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 do. Yoink. 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 Well, as most of you know, I love my comparisons. So, we have the Turbinellus flacosus. We have the Cantharellus formosus. And we also have Hygrophilopsis aurantiaca. This is the false chanterelle. This is the scaly chanterelle, also known as the scaly vase, or the woolly chanterelle. And this is the golden Pacific chanterelle, Cantharellus formosus. Just absolutely amazing. Look at the similarities in these guys. So all three of these at one point were in the Cantharellus genus. The only one that still remains there is the actual Cantharellus formosus, golden Pacific. Now formosus means beautiful. Aurantiaca means orange, and you can see how orange that is. And flacosus means tufted or of wool. Little dog's got a bit of an itch there. Now you can see that the scaly vase has very similar gill structure to the actual chanterelle. And the false chanterelle has more very delicate kind of gills there, and they're forked partway down as they go out, and they also are slightly decurrent, same as the others. But you can see the color differences in these guys. The formosus has kind of almost a pinkish hue, and these guys are more of the orangey orange, and they were thought to be Paxillus, and they are somewhat related to them. They are in the Bolitales order as well. So, and they've got that, you know, that rim, that indicative rim of the Paxillus and whatnot. These guys were called the false chanterelles, these guys here, because of their appearance, somewhat appearance, and the other is the fact that people were mistaking them so often. Now, they say that they're not edible and slightly toxic, but just GI upset. They're not going to make you really sick. However, once again, in Europe, they've been eating them for centuries. So, is it a DNA difference in the species between North America and Europe? Or is it the fact that people have just become immune to their actual toxicity? So very bizarre, but edible, and not edible. Look at these beautiful things though. Yeah, and when I first spotted these guys all in here, I really thought, oh, wow, nice. From the tops, they can look very much like the formosus. But once you flip them over, and you see that they actually have true gills, although very fine and dainty, they are still true gills, whereas these are more like veins or ridges, and same with these guys here. So there we go, we have all three. We have the Cantharellus formosus, we have the Hygrophilopsis aurantiaca, and we have the Turbinellus flacosus. And they have oxalic acid in them, and this actually helps break down the humus layer, and actually they can actually make the phosphorus and the nitrogen that's in there accessible to the trees and plants around them. So yeah, they are nitrogen fixers indirectly. Now these guys, unlike the true chanterelle and the scaly vase here, these guys are actually saprophytic. They like leaf litter. They like forest litter, you know, branches and dead wood and stuff like that. So you're going to see them like these guys. We're in a forest where all these branches have come down, and they're underneath the moss here, and that's what they're growing out of. whereas the formosus and the flacosus are both mycorrhizal. Well, there we have it. This is my little comparison.